Warner Music Nashville's Ingrid Andress. Those are some pretty nice shoes you got there.
Thank you, thank you. Dressed up just for you guys.
Well, beats me. So, welcome to Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
First time?
Yes. I've had a layover here once, and I ate at the airport. It was delightful.
Hey, it's one of the best airports in the world, so they say. At least that's what the airport tells us. We'll see.
I believe it.
All right, so Denver, Colorado, which is one of the nicest airports if you've ever flown through there, yes. People out there. Denver, Colorado, you grew up there. Your father worked for the Rockies and the Mets.
Yes, he was
as a trainer.
Yes, strength and conditioning coach.
Oh, okay, so your growing up must have been hell at times, huh?
Well, we were very healthy.
So did he have you working out same regimen as these professional athletes?
No, I played a lot of sports, and he would help train me for those, but he never made me do anything.
Oh, okay. So
I would always go in there and be like, let me do this. He'd be like, you're not ready. And he'd put the treadmill up. I'm like, you're right, I'm not ready.
Though you could ask him questions about working out and diet and all that fun stuff.
Very helpful.
Okay, well, good. And you had a chance to go to college to play sports, correct?
Yeah, I was gearing up to do that, and then I decided that music was the better route. So it was a very last-minute decision, but I'm very glad I made it.
Now, how'd you break that to the parents?
They actually were supportive of it. They were supportive all along, but their main thing was like, you can do whatever you want, but just know that it's completely up to you if you want to do it. And I was like, challenge accepted.
So in other words, yes, you fail, we'll be here to help you out and all that.
Right. Well, they'll be there to cheer me on.
So what made you decide to go with the music other than sports? I mean, obviously you can do both. Some people have done both.
You can.
You know, Lee Bryce being one of the ones that played, at Division I football and then did music as well along the side. A few others, Kenny Chesney comes to mind. So what made you decide to give up the sports entirely and do the music?
Well, nobody had ever really told me that music was a career. At that point, just from the community that I grew up in, like being famous in music meant like winning American Idol, and then that was it. Like nobody really knew how to pursue music, and so the second that I found out that there were other ways of pursuing it, like songwriting and all that stuff, I was like, well, what am I doing? Because it had been like a hobby for me my whole life. But then once I found out that people actually did it professionally, I was like, well, I'm going to do that. Duh.
Well, that was the perfect segue because my next question was going to be, how many songs do you think you've written so far in your life?
So many bad ones.
I was going to say, how many of them were bad?
So bad, like so bad.
Do you keep those to look back and reference and be like, what was I thinking?
Oh, yeah, because I thought I was like some pretty hot stuff. When I first started writing, I was like, listen to this song, and everybody was like, I don't know about that. I'm like, what are you talking about? But now listening to those, I'm like, oh my gosh, those are so bad. But you need to write those in order to get to the next level. I feel like I just kept writing and writing to get better because I knew that, I always just want to improve.
Has any of those songs made their way into one of the current songs, like a part of it going like, hey, you know what, the rest of the song's horrible, but I like that part?
I mean, there are parts of songs that I've written that I really like, but I want to go back and rework them because I feel like the more that I write, the stronger that muscle gets, just the same as sports. And so I just feel like what I've been writing recently definitely tops those, but there are parts of those songs that I want to rework for sure.
How do you write a song? Because it seems like every songwriter has their own way of coming up. Like, are you one of those people, you're sitting there, all of a sudden something pops in your head, you write it down, you start singing into your phone or come up with a melody or something like that? Or do you have to like sit down and like focus on the writing of the song?
When I write for other people, which is how I started as a songwriter for other artists, I just would go into the studio and be like, blah, like whatever I thought. And which would mostly be melodies. But when I'm writing for me, since all of my songs are so personal and are from events in my life that have actually happened, it takes me a second to really sit down and come up with a concept that matches whatever I'm feeling. So it depends on the situation, but for me, it's very much like, okay, what is the concept of this song?
Speaking of which, do you ever worry about people from your past figuring out that song that you just wrote is about them?
Well, A lot of them already know, so.
I was going to say, how do you balance that? Because that's got to be intimidating. You're sitting there like, oh, this would be great. Oh, man, I don't want them to be mad at me for the rest of my life.
I mean, honestly, I would rather be honest instead of worrying about what other people think about what I have to say. I feel like if it's a true feeling, then it needs to get out there. And if they're upset about it, then we can talk about it over a glass of wine.
You don't seem like somebody that would hold back anyway.
No. I mean, I'm just, be as honest as you can. It makes things move a lot easier, for sure.
Has anybody called you out on something you wrote?
Well, an ex-boyfriend or 2.
3.
Or 5,
That's got to be therapeutic right there, right?
Oh, for sure. Because I hate dumping on people like what I'm actually going through, so it comes out in music more than it does me venting to a friend, because I have so many emotions and feelings that it's hard for me to put it into words at like one moment. So that's why it's nice to be able to sit down and actually process through whatever it is I'm feeling.
Have you ever felt like you gotten too personal in a song?
Never. It's all out in the open.
Okay,
if I feel like I need to cover something up, then that's when I feel like I'm not being true to who I am. If I feel like, oh, I should probably not tell people I drink tequila straight because that would be weird. I'm like, no, whatever, They might as well know.
You got to clap on that one.
Yeah.
Tequila straight. You like it?
Yeah.
A few people. There you go.
There we go.